there are those sort of things that you should do, but you don't like doing. Not too many people keen on going to the dentist, even if your dentist is a really nice person. Check up at the doctor. I think you know what I mean. There's a list of things that are difficult, and this week is Bowelscan, Queensland's Blokes Poo Week. It encourages men to get tests for bowel cancer. It could be you, a partner, a brother, a cousin, whoever it may be. So in a moment, you're going to hear from a well-known Rocky local who is a bowel cancer survivor. So he's going to give us a little bit of insight. But first up, we have Mal Pageant from Rotary Queensland, who are the people behind this campaign. Thanks so much for talking to us this afternoon, Mal.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
So why is it important to have Blokes Poo Week?
Well, generally men are slightly more affected by bowel cancer, but generally men are the ones that don't want to think about it, and particularly under 50s that aren't covered by the free government test kit. And we just think that men think they're, if I can, speaking as a man, say that we're bulletproof, we're too young for bowel cancer, we're too healthy, all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it's affecting 10% of bowel cancer cases are under 50s.
Right. Okay. So really quite young. And you mentioned that men are the target of this campaign because they're the less likely ones to get tests for all the reasons you just listed. So how are Queensland men responding?
Well, I've got to say this week has been fantastic. I don't know whether it's because we used the word poo or something, but
adding a little childish snicker to the title. Yeah.
Well, it certainly got attention, and we're really delighted. And like I've been talking on radio and on our social media pages, the response has been phenomenal.
Okay, so without getting too graphic at this time of day, can you just give us a quick talk through how the test actually works?
Look, if you can pick up a dog's do, you can do one of these test kits that's far less invasive than that. So all you do is you put a bit of paper under the seat, and you do a little fresh poo onto the paper. Then you just get a little brush from a sterilised tube, and over 2 days you just brush the little stick over the poo, and then you once you get 2 samples, you fill out the paperwork, and you go to the Sullivan Nicolaides Pathology drop-off centre, and they take it back to Brisbane and they test it, and then you get the results a couple of weeks later.
And you can do this right across Queensland, wherever you are.
Yep,
take it
they're
in.
all over the place. Yeah, it's really great. From Mount Isa to the north and even out the west, it's great.
Are they expensive to do a poo test?
Well, what you should do, if you get the free government test kit, if you're over 50, you should use that, because only 40% get returned, which is really sad. It's crazy because people are unnecessarily dying from bowel cancer.
Yeah, we've got hundreds of thousands of tests out there sitting in people's bottom drawers.
Oh, yeah, well, I've got to say, one of your presenters from Toowoomba Breakfast Show,
Oh, we've lost the line? Oh, he's back. Good. Sorry, you just dropped out a bit there. You were you were dobbing in one of our presenters?
Yeah, well, he dodged himself in, frankly.
Oh, good on him.
But, so what we're trying to do, if you're under 50, you can buy a commercial kit from a chemist. They're about $40, I think. But and we also have them available on our website at Bowelscan, Queensland. So the choice is yours.
Okay.
But but we're trying to get. The main thing is we're trying to get people to talk about it, and that's what Poo Week is doing. And we want people to recognise the symptoms, and if they get the symptoms, they should go to the doctor and get it checked out. If there's a family history, we want people to maybe ask older family members if anybody has had bowel cancer in their family. Maybe.
Okay, so if you've had bowel cancer in your family, clearly you should go and get a test. Unfortunately, we're losing the line there. So, Mal, if you can still hear me, thank you very much. Mal Pageant is from Rotary, and you can learn more about the Blokes Poo Week campaign by checking out Rotary Bowelscan Queensland. It's a Facebook page, so it's nice and easy to find. Meanwhile, Neil Fisher is a local councillor with the Rockhampton Regional Council, and he has his own story when it comes to bowel cancer. Thanks so much for talking to us this afternoon, Councillor Fisher.
That's quite okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to share what not to do.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your experience.
Okay, well, look, it was actually in September 2017. I'm one of those workaholic type people, which is a large portion of our population. About to go on a council trade delegation to China and ended up violently ill. Turns out, long story short, I had a tumour in the large intestine, 16 kilo sized tumour, and that was cancerous, and that was
Did you
bowel
say
cancer.
16 kilos?
16 kilos.
And you didn't know that? That's
Now,
hefty.
that is one of the important things of why it is so important to participate with Bowelscan, because there are so many different symptoms that many people like myself didn't actually show up. Like most of the time they'll sort of say, well, there are these telltale signs. Honestly, I didn't have any of those telltale signs. Had I taken the scan, probably would have picked up that, hey, there's an anomaly there, you need to go and see a specialist.
And of course, it goes without saying, if we pick something up early, our prognosis is better. Usually the whatever the treatment is less invasive, less challenging to recover from.
Exactly. And a lot of people who find themselves in a similar situation to myself, there is no family history of that in the family. There's none of the telltale signs. Probably, like most Queenslanders, we do love our red meat and our processed meats, but again, it's sort of not something there that we, most of us probably don't have that every day of the week. But there's just some of those things that you just sort of think, well, okay, have I sort of lost weight suddenly? That didn't happen with me, unfortunately. Was I fatigued? No. I was working. I was surviving on 3 or 4 hours sleep a day. Just kept going the whole time. In fact, the week before I ended up crook, I actually put in a 21-hour day of council work and didn't think anything of it. It was just being a very active person.
Yeah, so this diagnosis must have really put the brakes on things for you.
It did. And look, this is one of the things that I try to, when I'm talking to people who have recently been diagnosed, the hardest thing is actually that, okay, you've got to slow down. You've got to make some of those changes. And it's not, most cases said, I still believe there that, you've got a very, very good chance of overcoming, even if you are diagnosed with bowel cancer. There is sort of quite a good success rate. It's better not to get to that point, but some of us there that don't make the right decisions, one way or the wrong, we can sort of get over it. But you've got to keep, if you've suddenly sort of found yourself in this situation, keep positive. Just look at those little changes that you can make to just what you eat. More fish, more of that. More vegetables. Queensland, we've got plenty of fantastic varieties of fruit that we can have with our meals all the time. So we can make those sort of changes, and we can even laugh about. I reckon now I've got a chest there that's very, very good for Halloween party because of you've got to have surgery.
So Councillor, just lastly, I'm curious as how this has changed your interaction with other men, with blokes when it comes to, encouraging people to have the poo test.
Look, it is something there that you raised. Being a deputy mayor of a council, you get to go and be a guest speaker at all sorts of different events. And it gives you that chance to just raise that and sort of say, find it into the conversation. It's as you said at the introduction, this is not the easiest of topics to talk about, but I tell you what, it's still, if you can sort of have something to say that saves another few families having to go through what I put my family through, that's a success. And if we can sort of keep getting that message, hey, there's other things worse in life than having to do a poo test. Gosh.
Well, going through cancer treatment being one of them. Councillor Neil Fisher, we're out of time, but thank you so much for sharing your personal story, and I hope life in Rocky these days is treating you really well.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Take great care. To Brad.